A young girl who started a lemonade stand, a music star opening a unique summer camp, a war hero fixing the home of a 99-year-old hurricane victim. These stories represent the indomitable American spirit, according to American Sniper wife Taya Kyle.
Taya Kyle is a New York Times best-selling author and the widow of American Sniper Chris Kyle. Chris and his friend Chad Littlefield were cruelly murdered by a man they were trying to help. In Chris's honor, Taya has founded the Chris Kyle Frog Foundation, which focuses on strengthening the marriages of military spouses and first responders. After her husband's death, people shared their own stories of tragedy and triumph with Taya. She highlighted over 30 of them in her book, American Spirit.
Well, Taya Kyle is with us now, and we welcome you back to the 700 Club. Always wonderful to see you.
Thank you. It's great to see you.
Brand new book, just out a couple of days ago, and you've called the American Spirit your love letter to the country. What do you mean by that, Taya?
I feel like, if you have a good friend and you see that they're hurting or they're angry, but you know that their soul is what's most important and you try to draw that out, that's really where I am. I see that America's hurting. I see that they're angry, but I think it's important that we recognize the soul as much or more than the discourse.
You talk about the pioneering spirit, the spirit that built America, and boy, that's a wonderful thing to contemplate in the day that we live in. Why do you think that's so important?
It's interesting because Jim DeFelice, who wrote American Sniper and American Wife with me, he was working on a book called West Like Lightning, and it's the Pony Express, and I was talking about all these inspiring people, and I was saying, Jim, that spirit is still alive. People are sacrificing their time, their energy. Sometimes they're going against great odds to help other people. And I think that's what this country was designed to do. It was built on this concept that we have this freedom of religion, freedom to love and serve one another. And somehow we've taken it to a level that we didn't intend to, but it's still here.
Even not just the freedom, but we used to know that it was even the responsibility to do that.
No, I'm so glad you said that, because that's the other thing that I keep thinking about is we keep looking to the government when there's a problem and we say, the government should take care of it. But bureaucracy does not touch a human soul like helping your neighbor, right? And the stories I keep hearing are these people went to help someone else and they realized the blessing was for them too, right? This mutual blessing of getting human contact and compassion, that's what we're going to miss if we keep asking the government to take care of what we have a responsibility to do.
You start one of the first stories in the book. It's about Alex's lemonade stand. Talk a little bit about who Alex was and why that story is significant.
I think a lot of people may have heard about Alex back in the day. I think it was about 2005. And Alex was a little girl with cancer, and she was going to raise money to fight it for other kids. And so we got a big buzz about it then. She raised $1 million. But what we noticed is Jim's nephew is online at school, and he sees something about Alex's lemonade stand. He didn't know that because he wasn't around, when that was happening. And so he starts his own lemonade stand, and kids are still doing it today. The reason we wanted to include that story is that there is a ripple effect of every act of goodness that we do.
One of the things that strikes me also in your book is that you talk about the fact that many of the stories that you tell are everyday people doing remarkable things. And that's kind of what you were talking about just a few moments ago, that it's every American has the responsibility, whether we're 4 or 40, to carry on. To carry on.
We do. And I think the other thing is we tend to get to this focus where we're noticing victims, right? And we keep seeing victim, victim, victim. And I think, yes, you can be the victim, but what we're missing is the pain and the purpose in the pain. It's not bad. In fact, I think it's God designed where God says, everything that darkness brings, I can bring light through. And we have to be open to seeing that. So now, when I see a problem or a hardship, I'm not devastated and crying and thinking the world is horrible. I'm saying there's an opportunity there for people to be blessed through this and to see God's mercy, His grace, His ability to do. We've got a cross section, whether it's an amputation, a sick child, genetic disease, military, PTSD. There are blessings that are God brought through all of them. I don't think God designed the hardship. I think He designed the blessing through it.
And sometimes that is the initiator. The hardship is the initiator.
It often is.
In your own life, that happened. You went through such tragedy, such grief. How did you get through that and come to the other side of being able to see what you're talking about?
Right. I think it was a few things. One of them was I wasn't alone. People showed up in interesting ways. And I think that's the other point of American Spirit. There are unique ways that people showed up. There are gaps everywhere, and there are gaps that we can fill if we use our individuality. The other thing was I was on a speaking tour, and I had my kids, and I was stressed, and I was grieving. And I noticed that these stories lifted my spirit. They lifted my soul. They helped me heal by saying, this world, yes, has bad things happen all the time. That's the way it was designed to be. But these bad things are actually extraordinary blessings and light and inspiration in them if we see how we get through it.
How do you pass that on to your children?
It's very organic, and it's funny you say that because my daughter, when I brought home the hard copy, was so excited to read it. They have this depth and this soul to them that only comes through surviving hardship. And we've got a story in there, too, about a guy who had a really hard time in middle school, and he came out so much stronger and has blessed so many lives because of the hardship, right? So I actually have a children's series coming out this year, too. It's faith-based, and it's based on the fact that my kids are so strong because of hardship.
Yes. So that's something we can look forward to in helping our own children get to that place. Yeah. Well, I want to mention that you also have a story in here about a fellow Navy SEAL of your husband's, Marcus Luttrell, and he did a remarkable thing for a 99-year-old man. Share that story because it's very inspiring.
Yeah, I will. And I actually, part of the beauty of this is that his wife, Melanie Luttrell, who Marcus will tell you is everything. She is such a dynamo and such a powerhouse and such a huge heart. So he chose the right woman to take this journey with, right? Their son was out and helping people from Hurricane Harvey and found this 99-year-old veteran, Mr. Fly, who is so cool. I mean, nobody could meet Mr. Fly and not come away happier. But his wife had just passed. They'd been married forever. It was their dream home. And they saw he was without a home and losing his independence, going to a nursing home or some facility. So they pitched in and raised money, and then Melanie went in, and Mr. Fly said, you decorate it, Melanie. I don't want to make any decisions. And she gave him the most beautiful home. They gave him his independence back.
Oh, how wonderful. Yeah. When people read American Spirit, the subtitle, Profiles in Resilience, Courage, and Faith, what do you want them to come away with? We live in such an angry, hostile society. People can hardly speak civilly to each other.
Right.
What impact do you want your book to have?
There are probably three things, and very quickly I can say them. And one is that there is purpose in pain. It's not something that we have to feel defeated by. In fact, I don't think that's God's design. I don't think he wants us defeated. I think he wants us to see the miracle that he'll bring through every painful situation. And I think that the other thing is we have to stop sometimes letting ourselves be pulled into this angry dynamic, and we have to start looking for soul in America just as much as we look for it in ourselves. And the other thing is, there are so many examples of people whose lives, they might have thought their life didn't matter that much, right? Like, what have I done? We're so focused on social media, followers, impact, magazines, TV. And the thing is, the ripple effect of one right move after another is what you see in this book. So whether it's one story where somebody's making sandwiches and putting it on a windowsill, turns into 2 generations later, somebody donating a homeless shelter. There's a principal who inspires a kid, and he goes out and inspires thousands of others. One right move after another is what it's all about, and it does matter.
It's a difference. It does matter. Well, you can read more than 30 other stories in Taya's new book. It's called American Spirit, Profiles in Resilience, Courage, and Faith, and it's available wherever books are sold. For more with Taya, by the way, go to facebook.com/700club. You can see an exclusive behind-the-scenes interview.